Have you ever noticed yourself that you are lashing to people around you and you don't know why you are doing that? Or maybe you have been doing things or behaviors on autopilot, not knowing why and what's the reason behind doing those behaviors or those actions. In this video, I'm going to explain to you the subconscious root, the subconscious roots that are connected to these behaviors and these intense emotions. So I'm going to give you an example to relate on this. So for example, you are a parent, for example, and you continue lashing out at your children, okay, and you do whatever, like you might abuse them, you might just yell at them, so you are 24 hours angry at your children, okay. So despite what your children have done to you, you are angry at your children and you pissed off on the little things that they do, okay. So it's this is the what's in the surface, that you are angry at your children. But if you sit down with yourself and you ask yourself, what am I angry at really? What's really the reason that I am angry at? And you will find out that your children has nothing to do with it. You might be angry because your boss did something to you, didn't, for example, approve that raise, for example, that promotion, or maybe you are an entrepreneur, so you lost maybe a project or anything else, or maybe you are just overwhelmed with life. Maybe you are overwhelmed with your emotions, and these emotions didn't have a place to be out from your system, okay. That's why you would lash out at the people or at your children, because they are less power, I would say, than you. So you use your power to express this anger, okay. But if you think about it, it's not about your children, and it's not about your boss, it's not about the project. If you roll it back to your childhood, you will find out that you are angry, for example, at your parents, or you are angry at yourself, okay. So what is happening at this moment, it's not what it is, it's not what it looks like, it's not the reason you are angry about. It's rooted back to your childhood, when you were dismissed, when you didn't have that place to express yourself, or maybe you didn't have the healthy environment to express yourself, or maybe there wasn't like there weren't clear boundaries to you, right? So there are many things that happened during childhood. But as a child, you didn't learn how to express your emotions. You didn't learn how to process those emotions, okay? And that's why you carried these habits or this anger with you throughout your life, throughout your adulthood, throughout your school, high school, for example, or throughout your college time, and to the work, and then to the parenthood. Okay, so it's not about the current situation that you are angry about. It's about the childhood situation that happened. Maybe somebody took your toy at the playground, and there were nobody else at that time to defend for you and to protect you, and you were angry that your toy was taken from you. Okay, so it's not about your children at this moment. It's about what happened during your childhood, and you kept perpetuate this cycle over and over again. It took different shape, but it's the same anger. Okay, And the same thing applies, for example, if you are angry at your parents, for example, whatever happens during your childhood, okay? And then now you are angry at your children for the same reason. It's not because your children are not behaved, or maybe they don't listen to you or whatever. No, it's because this is the situation you were in, and you were trapped in that situation. You were trapped at that 5 years old person. So you lived all this life as a 5 years old person's mentality. I want you to sit with this for a moment and think, what are the behaviors that are popping up at this moment, and what are the emotions that are driving your life at this moment, and roll it back to your childhood. What happened there? Because it's most likely there is something happened during your childhood where you were powerless. You didn't have somebody to protect you, and you were angry. All right, so let's normalize processing the emotions. Let's normalize processing the traumas that happened during our childhood, instead of repeating the cycle to our children. Our children, they have nothing to do with what happened to you during your childhood. It's your responsibility as an adult to work on these emotions. Yes, I know your parents didn't treat you well, your parents were narcissists, your parents were blah blah blah. So let's stop blaming them, because I'm not saying that what they have done is okay. It's not okay at all. But we are adults now. Let's take responsibilities of whatever happened there. I know your parents treated you that way because that's how they were treated when they were a child. So they repeated the same cycle. But the question is, do you want to do that with your children? Do you want to repeat the same cycle with your children? Do you want your children to repeat the same cycle to their children, and so on and so forth? So let's acknowledge and let's admit of whatever happened to us during the childhood has affected us at this moment, and it's our responsibility to work on these emotions and to work on these traumas, because it's our responsibility to take out and to get out from this dilemma that we were in. We cannot stop blaming our parents. Yes, they didn't do well back then, but they were doing their best based on their awareness levels. Okay? And I'm not saying that they have done what they did is okay. It's not okay at all. It's just we have outgrown that, and it's a choice to the person himself or themselves to either to repeat the cycle and be in the victimhood that their parent did that and did that to you, instead of taking responsibilities and start healing and start processing all these emotions, because you are not just gonna benefit yourself by processing these emotions. You're gonna affect the people around you, because you are going to change. Instead of lashing at people, you're gonna take a moment and pause and ask yourself, is that the person who I'm lashing at the real reason I'm angry, or there is another reason behind it? Just take 5 seconds before doing anything and start questioning yourself. Am I doing it because of what it is, what it looks like at this moment, or am I doing it because there is something behind it, or there's something in the background running that I couldn't figure out? All right, so it's not about what you are doing at this moment, it's about what happened to you that caused this kind of behavior, this kind of emotion. And that built our identity. So imagine a child who is 5 years old develop this anger around their parents. They're gonna lash out at any person in their lives, especially the ones who are higher power to that person, because your parents are higher power than you. So whoever is higher power than you, you're gonna be angry at them, and then you're gonna lash out to the people that are under beneath you, or they are less power, I would say, than you. Okay, because you cannot get angry at your parents, right? Well, you can, but back then when you were 5 years old, that wasn't an option to you. But it was an option to you to get angry at your siblings, for example, or the kids in the playground or at the school. So you can see the point now. So it's not about what's happening at this moment, it's about what had happened to you back then when you were a kid. So I invite you to reflect on your emotions. What is the dominant feeling during your day? Is it fear? Is it sadness? Is it anger? What is it exactly? All right? And I invite you to reflect on it. What happened to me? When was the first time that I got angry at somebody? And process that. There are many ways to do that. Okay, so at this time, the information is everywhere. There is no excuse to anyone to say that I don't know how to deal with such and such. Information is everywhere. And if you need any help, you can find one way to work with me in the description, if that's what calls you, if that's what you want to do. Okay, so reflect on your emotions, reflect on your behaviors. What are they, and where do they stem from? Because it's kind of part of your responsibility to yourself to get out of that trauma or that emotion or that dilemma that you had during your childhood. And at the end of the day, it's a choice. Do you want to continue be the angry person, or the victim, or the poor person, or the guy that everything is not working for them? Or do you want to take responsibility of whatever happened to you, and then you decide that it ends with you, so that you will not repeat the same cycle your parents repeated to you? Okay, so because your parents were treated certain way by their parents, and their parents were treated certain way by their parents, and the cycle repeats itself until it reaches you. So do you want to repeat the same pattern to your children, and then they're gonna repeat it to their children, so on and so forth? Or do you want it to stop with you and it ends with you? The choice is yours. And I'm calling you out now because you are an adult. You know what's right and what's wrong, although these words are a bit stretchy. So you know what works best for you. Do you want to still be trapped in that trauma and that victim mentality? Or do you want to take responsibility and take your power back and take action? It's not about only saying that I want to do this and I want to do that, I want to change my life, I want to change whatever I feel and blah blah blah. It's about taking action, actual actions. You do the work. You face those fears. You face those emotions that were trapped in you, that once upon a time you just shuffled them under the rug. example, shuffle them in your body, because it's going to affect you by one way or another. Either your children, they're going to dump you because they can no longer tolerate this kind of person, and you're going to live alone and be alone. And also that can affect your physical body because of how amount of emotions and intense emotions that are trapped in your system. So it's not about like lashing out to people, it's about working on yourself, because you don't want to damage the system, your physical system, your physical body. And another aspect of it is the mental health, the depression, the bipolar, and all these kind of mental health. Where do you think they came from? From suppressing all these emotions and not letting them out of your system. Okay, so I invite you to observe what are the emotions, what are the behaviors, what are the actions that you are doing at this moment that were related to your childhood, and reflect back, where did that start? Just take 5 minutes a day to reflect. Would that cost you? I don't think so. Just 5 minutes. And 5 seconds to pause before lashing out to any person. Just observe and see what are you doing? How do you treat people? Because people are a reflection to you. So if you are angry at people, and if you lash out to people and you are pissed off, that means this is how you treat yourself, because you are angry at yourself. There is something in you is angry about you. And again, if we're gonna trace it back, we're gonna find out that in the childhood there is something had happened to you. It's not about anger, it's about everything. Any emotion that you might feel, the fear, for example, the shame is very big one, the guilt as well. So I invite you to reflect on these emotions. I invite you to reflect on your behaviors and see how do they reflect in you. If you are lashing out at people, where the boundaries were crossed in your life, where you weren't allowed to express yourself, because these are kind of reasons or the causes of anger. And sit with that part and sit with that feeling. I know sometimes it's difficult for us to feel our feelings because we haven't learned how to deal with our emotions. Maybe when you were a child, when you get angry, your parents will tell you that go to your room, for example, or be quiet or whatever. Or maybe they're gonna threaten you with something or even hit you, right? So you learned back then that your emotions are not welcomed. Different emotions, either the good emotions or the bad emotions, the comfortable or uncomfortable emotions are not welcomed. And then you adopted this kind of mechanism to shuffle in the emotions and suppress them. But that doesn't mean that you're going to continue doing that, knowing that it's harmful to you and to the people around you. All right? So I invite you to reflect and then work, take action, work on these emotions. There are many ways to do that. Breathing is the simple thing, taking a deep breath in and out to relax and to calm your nervous system. Meditation, journaling, subconscious reprogramming, hypnosis, whatever, there are many things. And there are some resources for you in the description if you would like to to work on these emotions. It's a very powerful session. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there, and I invite you to reflect, take action, reflect and take action. It's your responsibility, and you are the only one responsible to process your emotions and to process your traumas. Because if you want to live a fulfilling life, then this is the route. If you want to live like a chaotic life, then keep doing whatever you keep doing. The choice is yours. Everyone has the willpower. Everyone has the choice. And I know, because you reached this far in this video, this video spoke to your soul. And I know there is part of you that wants to get out of this. And I'm here to help you if you want to. Alright, and there are many ways to do that. Okay, the first step is to admit it, and then the next step is to take action. Alright, so reflect on that, and let me know in the comments, how does this video resonate with you? And check the description, there are resources for you to help you to process these emotions. Until next time.